welcome back. Welcome back to Rocket Gyan, my fellow space tubers. And today, it's a very exciting day for all the space fans out there because today is the day in which so many good things have happened. Starting in the morning, you might only be knowing about the New Glenn mission, but we had so many good things. So from ISRO, we had the news coming in from ISRO in the today this morning that they did a docking experiment in space. They successfully docked the two satellites which they sent over on the SpaceX mission, and then they became the fifth country or the fourth country, however you wanna specify the parameters, to achieve this docking capability in space. This is so much necessary, so important for them, because Bharatiya space station, Antariksh space station is coming up, Chandrayaan 4, Mars sample return, and also so many things. And after that we had the New Glenn mission, which was, oh my god, from Jeff, where are my engines, to Jeff, there is your engines. So it was such a good launch of the New Glenn. And now today we have the showstopper coming in right now, and that is the Starship. So we'll just get into this and get to know what do we have to know about this. So welcome everyone. Hey John, hey Wildflower, hi Pi from Twitter, I know you. Marcus, Antonio, and Christina, welcome to the stream. Yes, what an awesome day, Depratim. So SpaceX and SpaceX, only one letter difference, right? And that too, they are consecutive, C and D, but D came first before C. Wow. All right, cool. We'll just jump into it and see what all things are there. So we have the Starship. We'll have the stream coming in very soon. Before that, there are so many things on this Starship which is very important to know, and there are so many upgrades. So first of all, this Starship is the most advanced one yet, and this Starship is going to be like the what should I say, star of the whole show, because whole Starship's lineup, because this will have a variety of camera angles in which you will get. So it will deploy Starlink models, and it is said that those Starlink models itself have cameras in it. So we'll get a like a third person POV of the Starship as well. And they have installed multiple cameras, more cameras in this one rockets. In this rocket. So I am very excited to see, but there are multiple of them. So let's just jump in one by one. First of all, we have this one. So previously, this is the older one and this is the newer one. So you can see how what's the difference between the two Starships nose cone. You can see first of all, the position of the flaps is up now. It's not here, it is up. So how they decided to go for the upper profile? Because of the data they collected from previous missions, in which they might have noticed that the air resistance or air profile or air control which we are getting from the position from this one is kind of excessive. We don't want that much, so that's why you can have it over here, and other parameters are also there, like re-entry heating and all. So because of that, you can see the position of the flaps have been changed, and because of that only you will see that the re-entry things and there are certain advancement in the re-entry also, but one of those is this. Secondly, the performance is increased. You can see the Starship 2, which is kind of flying today, has 25% more propellant today this time. So from 1200 to 1500 they have gone, and the size of the ship is also increased, as well as the carrying capacity of the ship is also increased. So it's all in the what SpaceX is doing is completely, what should I say, I mean, I should say nonsense because it does not make any sense, right? So yes. Now the other one is, you can see this under the skirt, right? This is the upper stage, so vacuum optimized engine, and this is the third engine. So you can see the fuel lines, the feed lines which is there on the in the rocket, it is now vacuum jacketed. That's what we say, the vacuum jacket. So these jackets will ensure that they just a second, yeah, there is a better system to feed them, feed the fuel line. So what happens is, a vacuum jacket, what is a vacuum jacket? Basically, vacuum jacket is nothing but is you shielding yourself from space, right? So it's kind of make sure that the environment in which the this rocket is, it does not lose the heat is not being absorbed from the environment, because the LOX and methane which it uses, the Raptor uses, is kind of obviously it's like minus something degrees or something, 100 degrees or something. So you want them to be cool enough so that finally when these fuel is supplied to the engines, it is in the proper operating temperatures. So that is the case. You can see it is jacketed. Other part is, in this, the super heavy booster is reusing one of those engines from the previous flight. So man, this is so cool, right? Finally we are seeing some reusability from the previous flights. Once they are confident with one of the engines working again, so this is the Raptor engine being reused for the first time. So if they can do that, this will open up whole new possibilities of finally certifying the rocket for the full reusability in future. So this is the bit of a dent on the new one. Okay. Yeah, so this is like what they do. The 314 engine is what being reused from the previous rockets super heavy, which got caught. And then we have, what is this? Yes, this is what I was talking about. This is the Starlink satellite model, which is being installed in the payload fairing. So this time, for the first time, the payload will also be being deployed from the Starship. So we might see some good views of that also, how the payload bay opens and all those things. And these Starlink model satellites seem to have some cameras in it. So as I said, the third person POV, will get to know about that also. Next is, yes, so talking about the heat shield, we have very different things in here also. So they have new materials which they are testing for heat shield. They have some heat shields which will be which are located specifically in the stress region, so that they can stress the rocket, as well as they are deliberately removed some of the tiles so that they can stress the stainless steel, so that it does not melt, or whatever data they want to collect from it. And then they have also incorporated the active cooling mechanisms in one of those in some of those tiles. Now you don't know what type of active cooling it is. By just common sense, you can say it can be regenerative cooling, or it can be perforation also. So perforation is kind of you just poke holes on the kind of in the rocket itself, and let the fuel come out of it and cool those active the tiles. So that is kind of perforated things. And can be regenerative also. The fuel is being run on the whole body of the Starship. We never know. They are just testing in one of those spaces. The next part is, yes, so first of all, I would like to give credit to Vikrant for making this one like a good enough graphic for us to all see what all things are there. But before that, let me just give you a quick overview of what all things we are giving. So first of all, smaller forward flaps. So the front flaps have been reduced in size and to reduce the heat exposure and make the mechanism simpler. And this I'm talking about the upper stage changes. In the upper stage we have more fuel, as I said, 25% bigger. the better fuel pipes, which are as I said, insulated by those vacuum jackets. New engine feed system for the better delivery of the fuel to them, advanced control module, enhanced heat shield, and in the avionics part also they have done many changes. So they have installed a new complex or capable computer in it, which will be able to handle more complex task in the flight. That is the case. And for the live streaming itself, they have upgraded the networking system of the Starship, so that you can get like 120 mbps of direct downlink from the Starlink, and hence like full HD or maybe 4K also feed from the Starship. You just never know. How cool is that? And it will also do in the space, it will go do two things. It will do payload deployment as well as deployment the relight of the second stage engine. So it has not done that in the previous flights. Relight used to happen, but for the those three the atmospheric engines, but not for the vacuum optimized one. So this time they will be doing a relight of the vacuum optimized engines as well. And then the Starship itself has some catch fitting testings. So catch fitting, which means eventually what they want is they want to catch the upper stage also by those macazilla, the chopsticks. So they have in this one, they have those catching kind of grooves or hinges or whatever you want to, the placement of those whatever structure that is, they are testing it so that they can get a heat profile of that, how does it work on the heat part. And they have upgraded some safety protocols and some tower upgrades are there. But yeah, so you can see it is a good summary of all those things which are happening. So vacuum jacketed, and yes, smart batteries are also there to provide more even power to whole rocket. And they will kind of perform propellant transfer. They will not perform propellant transfer, but have those technologies which do that. They will kind of test those ones. And then we have the Starlink simulators to be deployed in flight. Raptor relight planned, active cooling, Raptor engines from booster 12 to be reflown on booster 14, and then finally catch attempt. We'll see what all things we are going to get. So this is what all mostly is, right? Yes. Perforation cooling is sweating, as you want to say that. Yes. So this is, so today the New Glenn itself, right? The New Glenn itself performed its first flight. First of all, let's talk about, since we have some time, let me check, do we have some views of the rocket itself or not? Do have some views. I'll switch over to that. Yeah. Just a second. Yep. So we are having the views of the rocket itself. First of all, this rocket, this launch site itself is so cool, right? I mean, look at that, the Texas launch site which they have made. So Starship is standing tall in the on the launch pad, and we will be getting the final views from the SpaceX official stream, which will be very good very soon. So yeah, let's talk about those New Glenn flight today. So first of all, Blue Origin completely shocked everyone today, because seriously everyone was making fun of Blue Origin for so long, and there was one leadership change recently in Blue Origin. I mean, the CEO got changed, and because of that, I heard that there was such a major culture change in Blue Origin itself, and within 1 year itself, the New Glenn was on the pad, and today it lifted off. So congratulations to Blue Origin for doing that. And with New Glenn and Starship in the market, SLS gone, dusted, in the mud. Somewhere it will be like there because both New Glenn and Starship has reusability capability, and it does not cost freaking $2 billion per launch for one freaking rocket. $2 billion, man. This is like the annual budget of ISRO, and one SLS launch consumes that much. Seriously, it is not at all sustainable. I'm glad that these two are there, and I'm betting on it that SLS was on the verge of cancellation or whatever, and now it will get cancelled for sure. That's what I think. Not sure about you. So if you have your opinions, you can write down in the chat. So we are right now T-minus 50 minutes from the launch. And everything is looking good. We are getting like, yeah, right now the propellant loading is underway. So yes, I was talking about the New Glenn. I was off topic. So yes, so I will tell you about my experience when I was watching this New Glenn. First of all, when the first time the New Glenn stream started, then at that time the the first time, I mean not this today one, the previous one, I was like, they are not launching today. So, and because of that, I didn't stream it, because I knew this is the first time they are launching it, and there will be some sort of problems, and they might not launch today. But the issue was in the previous launch was their APU, which is auxiliary power unit, and in that there was some the ice which was there in their purge lines, and because of that they had to cancel. First of all, auxiliary power unit, let me tell you, is used in the landing system, which means the landing of the rocket itself. So there, that means they were actually aiming to make the landing also a success. So they did not want any things in that, so that's why they cancelled. They tried to melt the ice in the purge lines by doing all that stuff, but it was not working. And what is an APU, auxiliary power unit? It's kind of a small generator itself in the rocket, so that it can generate a power, and it uses those fuels which is there. So it has a small kind of an engine which is there inside the rocket itself, which generates electricity, and the whole New Glenn is powered by that. So just imagine, and we have a close-up view of the rocket. So just imagine that how difficult would that be, right? You can't even have batteries and all those stuff over there. So yeah, that was the case. And secondly, today they finally launched, and previously they were made there were so many memes which were like circulated about our T-minus 20 minutes or so, they'll just reset the clock to plus 20 minutes or something, right? Every time that they were doing it, I was like, it's okay, this is the first launch, and it always happens like that. After that also, when today also they had to do a hold and add some few minutes to it, then also they got back all those community praise, I would say. That's the community praise, right? You know what I mean. And then finally when they launched and then it was successful, then also they are like getting memed out of them. What should I say? So it's kind of Blue Origin is in a state right now, or should I say space industry is in a state right now in which only one company is doing something, which is SpaceX, and any other company, they are just nothing, especially in space right now. So this is one thing which I don't like, because everyone is doing their own job and everyone is like putting in their hard work, putting in their dedication and stuff and all that stuff, and you can just you can't just ignore them. That's what I want to say. So But that is the thing. So SpaceX fanboys, fan clubs, they are just taking over and being toxic. I am going straight in this, and I and my community is not, does not come into that thing. So you guys all are safe. Welcome to the club, BOS. I mean, it's fine to make some memes for the fun element and all. I also made this thing, but if you read the comment section and all, it becomes a little toxic, which I don't like. In the during the first attempt also, I was like, they are going to do it, but yes. And now since the first stage rocket, the first stage itself trashed, uh, they are also like no one is like, most of the people are obviously congratulating them for their success, because that is a big milestone. Super heavy class rocket getting into the orbit in its first actual attempt, right? So that is a big thing. If you see the shuttle, the space shuttle was there was no as such automotive or automated, yes, sorry, automated, English man, English, okay, automated flight that was not there for space shuttle. In the first flight itself, the humans were put into that and they had a very strict constraint on how the safety parameters and redundancy would be there in the space shuttle, because they were putting humans on their first try. I mean, just think about it. Can you even think about doing that in today's day and age? I would say no, but NASA did that. They put in like humans in the first space shuttle flight, because that's how it was designed to be, and it was successful, and they recovered the boosters also in the space shuttle first flight. So I think that is the only flight, new inaugural launch of a new vehicle in which the boosters got recovered in its first attempt. I think that is true, if I'm not wrong. So yeah, and then after that yeah, so the space shuttle had very strong constraint. Even if you had to change like one line of code of the in the computer, you have to like have a 3-page 4-page proposal of why do you want to change it, what effect it will going to have, what enhancement and all those things. So it had very strict constraint. But I was, because New Glenn is also kind of on the similar track, because they are not following SpaceX strategy to just reiterate, just launch anyway, learn from the data, and then again put the vehicle on the pad. Blue Origin goes on the shuttle era on in one launch only. They are right now ahead of SpaceX in terms of orbital capacity, because SpaceX has not demonstrated orbital insertion yet with their Starship. I mean, yes, it has kind of, if you want to say, but it is not, because the Starship itself, it always remains, the upper stage always remains inside the perigee of the upper stage orbit, always remain inside the atmosphere. This is done intentionally, not because it is not capable to do that, but done intentionally because they don't want to relight the engines again to have that re-entry, obviously. So but today they are relighting it, so not sure, but today also they will be doing it in the following the same trajectory of the perigee, having very small so yes, this is the rocket. See how cool, how sleek it looks. You remember the first first developmental flights of it was such a big steel mess, right? And now it looks such a clean, sleek tin can. Previously it used to look like a steel dustbin. That's what I would say. But now see, look at that. How cool does it look? Yep. Okay, some cool. So in this is a good view actually. You can see the all the components of it. You can see the grid fins, the interstage there, and you can see those flaps. I was trying to point out to some, you know, feed lines, but yes. So Pi says, I'm in space, I'm watching from Mars. In my planet, the internet is 12G, not like Earth. Ula. So, yes, okay, great, Pi, if that is the case, because um, we are coming to your home, especially with this rocket. I'm telling you, this will be the first rocket you will see some which will be carrying some humans to your place, and then we will conquer your planet, and then you will not be able to live in your own planet. How cool is that? Great. Okay, so one thing which you have which you didn't which you must have observed in New Glenn's launch was that there was that flare which was burning behind, which was the case with the Starship also, but they somehow managed to, you know, just release those gases in the air, or they have somehow managed to just recycle it back to do some things about it, because initially Starship also used to had that flare in which they used to burn off those excessive gases, which was which basically you can say that those gases which came from the liquid state, which means the liquid oxygen and liquid methane, so basically methane only. So now since Starship improved on their own you know, whole launch pad thing, launch dynamics, operational stuff and all those things, so they somehow figured out that they don't need that flare to be on all the time. Obviously it's a fire hazard, obviously, so you don't want that near, and that's why they have now removed it, optimized their fuel lines to be more efficient and less heat absorbent, or what? Yeah, great. I think we should be having a live, let me check that, give me a second. Yes. Cool. We have some good space tunes, right? And then finally, SpaceX live stream has started. We are T minus 37 minutes from the launch. Everything is looking great because the weather was good in our previous live. I mean, those the shots which we saw, right? So let's hope the weather is good, the range is good, and we'll get to know all about it in a few seconds from now. You just see that. And this time, I'm betting you there will be no as such wayward movements of the booster itself, because previously, if you remember, the booster had to land on the ocean rather than being caught by the those chopsticks, right? Macazilla. The thing was because the pad itself, I think the arms or the pad itself had some issue. Because of that only the booster got redirected. So it's a safety mechanism, and you just listen, just think about it. If right now, let me tell you, that command to shift from landing to the landing zone, which is the chopsticks, and on the water, is being given by the ground, by seeing the launch pad readiness at that point of time, and accordingly the command is given. But I'm pretty sure this will also get automated. They are just doing it out of, or they are doing it out of caution, or it may be an FAA requirement. You just never know. So that is the case right now, and we should be seeing the booster getting caught again, and this will be my first time seeing it live, because previously I missed. All right, there you go, dramatic music playing. Oh my god, that's music was so
Good
OP.
afternoon and welcome to the 7th flight test of Starship. It is currently 4:03 p.m. Central Time here at Starbase, Texas, and it is a beautiful and breezy afternoon for another flight around the world. I'm Kate Tice, Senior Quality Systems Engineering Manager at SpaceX, and I'm joining Dan for my first ever in-person Starship launch at Starbase. You can see the rocket behind us. It's mind-blowing. This is quite the view, Dan.
No better seat in the house, no better thing to talk about a rocket as you watch it launch. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Starbase for another Starship launch. I'm Dan Hewitt from SpaceX Communications. We are at T-minus under 33 minutes and counting. Our T0 time coming a little after the bottom of the hour. Now, Starship program has brought us nonstop excitement back in 2024. This year shaping up to be even bigger.
Absolutely. We're looking at even more launches of Starship this year with tons of exciting firsts starting today. Flight 7 has a lot in store, from Starship's next generation upper stage design on its first flight today to deploying the first simulated Starlink satellites and the second booster catch attempt. We're kicking off 2025 in style here in the Lone Star State. So hold on to your butts because it's going to be a wild year.
And it's all ramping up as we chase after that full reusability for the world's biggest rocket. And we're going to be with you today every step of the way. Also joining us, though, amid a very excited crowd growing over there in Hawthorne, is Jesse Anderson. Jesse, how's everything going in LA?
Hey, Dan and Kate, everything is all good here on the factory floor. We're just outside of mission control, and we're T-minus 31 minutes away, but we already have a really big crowd here building. There you go. Starting to build up here. Every flight of Starship has made huge progress, and today is another exciting one. We're joined by Starship, Raptor, and Starlink teams here with me today, and everyone is getting super excited for this flight test. So with that in mind, I expect it to get very loud in here soon. But for now, I'm going to hand it back over to you guys at Starbase for a quick look back at the flights that brought us here today.
Hey, thanks, Jesse. Now, more we fly safely, the faster we learn. Faster we learn, the sooner we realize full and rapid reuse. The previous 6 flight tests proved we're on the right track. Each one of those tests provides a ton of invaluable data and, of course, some pretty great views along the way.
Oh, yeah. Every one of those tests informed the upgrades that are debuting on today's flight test. And you know, we've all been watching this, following through the incredible testing campaign for every flight. And man, I can't wait for today as well as everything else we've got planned this year.
Just a recap of what happened just before this flight test. Our most recent one was back in November 19th. That was Flight 6. It lifted off at 4 p.m. Central from Starbase, Texas, just a couple miles over our shoulders.
It was a gorgeous sunset ascent. Let's take a look.
Why not? Man, SpaceX knows how to make their videos, man. Look at that.
It's been just over a month since Flight 5. Goal is to get that turnaround time down to hours.
We have liftoff. Stage separation.
30 seconds, no catch decision.
Booster offshore diversion.
Tune in and watch the ship fly around planet Earth.
Relight demo startup. And shutdown.
Starship is at 100 kilometers altitude. Flaps now have control of the vehicle. Starship has started the subsonic belly flop. Starship has landed.
This is literally full sci-fi, man.
All right, now today's flight test is going to look pretty similar profile-wise to that last one and honestly the last couple. So everything starts off, as always, with liftoff. The Super Heavy igniting those 33 Raptor engines. Super Heavy going to power us through that initial ascent, get Starship on its way to space before we get to the hot stage maneuver.
Exactly. The ship will then ignite engines while it's still attached to the booster. That will allow us to separate the 2 stages. That booster will leave a few engines on for that flip and return back here to Starbase for a catch at the launch tower.
And while booster catch is blowing our minds, ship keeps going all the way to space, gets into its suborbital trajectory. Got a couple on-orbit things. We're going to deploy our first test satellites. Also going to relight a Raptor engine while in space. That all sets us up then for re-entry.
As we have seen on the previous flights, courtesy of Starlink, that re-entry period gives us such gorgeous views. It's like, you know, just a rainbow flow of colors as the ship re-enters the Earth's atmosphere. The ship will relight its engines, perform a flip maneuver for a soft water landing in our targeted location in the Indian Ocean. And that will once again be daylight given our later launch window. So today's flight test will be launching the next generation of Starship. It'll attempt the first payload deployment test, fly multiple re-entry experiments geared toward ship catch and reuse, and of course, the launch and return of the Super Heavy booster back to the launch site right there behind us.
Yeah, that's going to be amazing, but ship, kind of the star of the show for a lot of stuff today. A huge block of upgrades to Starship's upper stage are debuting on this flight test, adding more capability. We'll start off up top. Those forward flaps got a redesign. They shrunk in size. We shifted them towards the top of the vehicle, away from the heat shield. That's going to make it significantly less exposed to re-entry heating. And then Starship itself, we made it about 2 meters taller. So we stretched it up to about 52 meters. That allowed us to add 25% more propellant volume, along with a bunch of propulsion upgrades like vacuum jacketing of those feed lines to the engines, an entirely new feed line system for the Raptor vacuum engines, an improved avionics module for propulsion, all that adding performance and the ability to fly longer missions.
And just like on Flight 6, tiles have been purposely removed to stress test vulnerable areas. This time we're doing it across the entire vehicle, including in critical areas as we use this flight to push the boundaries of Starship's capabilities. And for reentry experiments, multiple metallic tiles are being tested, as you can see there on your screen, including some that have a version with active cooling.
Then the vehicle's avionics, its brains, got a complete redesign. Some of the new things, we've got 4 of these upgraded Starlink terminals that combine Starlink, global navigation, and RF communications into a single unit. And then on the sides of the vehicle, we have these catch fittings. They're non-structural, but we're going to be able to see how they perform thermally during reentry. We also smoothed part of that tile line to address some hot spots that we saw during entry on the last flight.
Now the ship and the booster, they weren't the only thing to get some upgrades. On the ground side, several radar sensors will be tested on the tower catch arms as we experiment with additional ways to measure distance between the arms and the vehicle while we prepare for ship catch. Now this is just a handful of the many upgrades included on this flight that make this the most capable Starship that we've flown so far.
Exactly.
And then something really cool has me super excited. We're going to be deploying 10 Starlink simulators that are similar in size to our next generation Starlink satellites. With pretty unparalleled payload capacity and full reusability, Starship's going to be able to deploy our more advanced V3 Starlink satellites, which is going to help us continue to revolutionize global connectivity. Each of those Starlink V3 launches on Starship is going to add about 60 terabits per second of capacity to the Starlink.
Okay, that payload bay looks, it's not a bay actually, but yeah.
We're getting with every V2 mini flight on a Falcon 9 right now. That just helps further Starlink's impact in the coming years as we expand access to high-speed internet all around the world and eventually beyond. And those Starlink simulators are going to be on the same suborbital trajectory as Starship, and they're expected to demise upon entry. Starship itself, its trajectory looks very similar to all of our last several flights, suborbital, splashdown targeted into the Indian Ocean, a couple hundred miles off the western coast of Australia. And then the other on-orbit thing we're doing is going to be relighting a single Raptor engine while in space. We knocked that out last time. V2 ship, new propellant system. Let's do it again on this one.
Ship's going to be busy. Now, of course, we can't forget to add that today's super heavy booster is reflying flight-proven hardware for the first time. A Raptor engine that flew on the booster that was caught during Starship's 5th flight test. You can see it there on your screen. This flight-proven engine, we've got Raptor 314 there, hence why there's a piece of pie on this nozzle. Maybe we can get that image rotated so you can see it a little bit better. Yep, there we go. If you didn't already know, we like our jokes around here. So that's what we have planned for today's flight test, and so far everything is on track as we continue to count down. We're now within 23 minutes of launch. We're at 22 minutes and 52 seconds. Everything continues to look good. Still a little breezy, but that's okay for us.
Yeah,
I mean, yes, 3.14 is like a pie, but where is the piece of pie?
Else, but weather's cooperating, really clear skies, no rain today, still well within our limits for booster launch or catch. Not tracking any issues on vehicle as we continue to count down. We're still loading prop on board. Our range team also reporting that the range looks like it will be clear at our current T0. So that's super important. We're going to keep an eye on that all the way up to the end.
As for what we've already done with the vehicle leading up to today, we stacked the vehicle over the weekend. We lifted the ship on top of the super heavy booster. Hours ago, we cleared the site of all personnel. And of course, our flight controllers came on console, some of them sitting in the building behind Dan and I. And as Dan mentioned, the range team was deployed. They are standing by in the Gulf to make sure that the booster has a clear to return back to here at the launch tower, but also they're located in the Indian Ocean, standing by to make sure that the targeted landing zone for the ship is also clear as well.
And then we knock out a whole bunch of things in the hours before launch. We do an alignment on all the guidance, navigation, and control. We did tank purges, pressure checkouts, make sure we were ready for prop load, check the booster, quick disconnects. and the ship one. We demate the chopsticks. We actually do a little wiggle check on them, make sure we have control, as we're going to be using those for catch. Load up all of the hydraulics that are on the tower, and then we did the initial locks and methane chills, getting them ready for prop load.
Now, speaking of prop load, we conducted the go, no-go poll for prop load at 3:30, so a little bit less than an hour ago. All was good there. Prop load is underway. The LOX load on the booster started at T-minus 45 minutes, and fuel started at T-minus 43 minutes. Booster fuel will start at T-minus 41 minutes, and then LOX on the booster started at T-minus 35. So that will all wrap up at T-minus 3 minutes and 20 minutes on the ship side, and at T-minus 2 minutes and 50 seconds on the booster side. So everything is looking good. Propellant is loading.
Yeah, looks like we're about half full of everything on booster, 3/4 of the way there on ship, looking good for a launch today. With that, though, let's jump over. Let's check back in with Jesse real quick and all of our teams out at Hawthorne.
So many details too.
Thanks, Dan and Kate, and great to hear the updates with the vehicle as we prepare for liftoff. There is a lot more people here, as expected.
Look at this.
Love it. All the Raptor engines are built here, so there's a lot of that team here in the crowd, so they have a strong connection to the Starship flight today. Every flight test gets us closer to a fully operational Starship, which gets us closer to our ultimate goal to make humanity a multi-planetary species. To establish cities on Mars, we're going to need high-cadence, low-cost flights for cargo and crew. As the only fully reusable rocket with this kind of capability, Starship is the only vehicle in development that will be able to unlock our multi-planet future. Starship uses a first-of-its-kind on-orbit propellant transfer to refuel in orbit in preparation for these long trips. With milestones like ship catch and in-orbit prop transfer coming up, 2025 promises to be huge for Starship and our journey to Mars, with our first trip currently planned for the end of 2026. Between the reusability, low cost, and heavy lift capabilities, this all comes together to help us deliver up to 100 people at a time to destinations both near and far, and to deliver payloads farther and at a lower cost than any other vehicle. We'll be able to launch more massive payloads than anything else flying or in development today, capable of sending things like giant space telescopes or the next generations of space stations into orbit on a single launch. So while today's flight is just a test, the future is much closer than we realize.
End of
But one
2026
flight test
to
at a
Mars.
time. So let's head back to Dan and Kate for a closer look at Starship.
Bit ambitious, I would say. It's an Elon
Thanks,
time.
Jesse. Starship
that's all they
features
say.
2 major parts. The ship, which has 6 Raptor engines, and the Super Heavy booster, which has 33 Raptor engines. The Raptor engine is a reusable methane-oxygen staged combustion engine that powers the Starship system and has twice the thrust of the Falcon 9 Merlin engine. Now, just like we saw flights 1 through 6, the current iteration of Starship is an experimental vehicle flying for development. As we mentioned earlier, today's flight is debuting a ton of upgrades that we've had in the works in order to increase Starship's reliability and performance. Several of these upgrades will also unlock our ability to fly longer missions, something that we'll want to do as we start doing orbital flights around Earth.
And then to get an even better sense of just how big Starship is, we can start here. Let's take a person about 2 meters tall. Towering over that, you got your Millennium Falcon clocking in at 35. Just above that, we've got a Falcon 9 rocket, payload fairing attached. Double that height, you're up at 70 meters. And then topping it all off, nearly twice the size, it's a fully stacked Starship up to 123, got 2 meters taller. Altogether, the ship, 52 meters, super heavy boosters, 71. And what's super fun is we're going to make ship and booster even taller in the future.
Bro.
Which is crazy, because turning around and looking at it and thinking that it's going to be bigger, that's mind-blowing.
Make the ship as tall as the booster.
Now, moving up the rocket, the ship features 6 Raptor engines. 3 optimized for sea level performance, and 3 optimized for vacuum performance. Raptor Vacuum, or RVAC, is a similar design to the Raptor engine, but features a larger exhaust section and a larger expansion nozzle to maximize the engine's efficiency in space. Our upgraded ship that we're debuting today carries about 300 more tons of propellant than the last flight's ship, bumping it up from 1,200 metric tons to about 1,500 metric tons. It's a lot. The ship is designed for vertical takeoff and landing on any hard surface. Now, the ship is also outfitted with newly redesigned forward flaps that are used to aerodynamically control the vehicle's attitude during atmospheric flight and enable a precision landing. The new flaps are lighter and positioned more leeward or away from the heat shield.
Now, to reach full reusability, the ship has to be able to survive reentry not just one time, but multiple times. The ship's heat shield is essentially what does the job for that. We've been iterating on that every single flight, building towards that heat shield that requires no refurbishment between flights. Now, the heat shield is composed of thousands of hexagonal ceramic tiles. They're designed to insulate the vehicle during that atmospheric entry where temperatures ramp up to as high as about 2,600 degrees Fahrenheit. A rapidly reusable heat shield has never been flown in history, so continuously improving this, flying new experiments, those are all key focuses of all of our flight tests right now.
And in between the first and second stages is our hot stage, which we saw in actions on flights 2 through 6. The hot staging maneuver is when the upper stage engines are ignited before the booster engines, before those booster engines are completely cut off. With hot staging, the rocket never stops accelerating during separation, so it's more efficient than traditional stage separation. One of the hallmarks of Starship flights are the incredible views that we get throughout flight, of course, courtesy of Starlink. Every day, we're working to expand the Starlink network both on Earth and in space. Here's Jesse with more.
Fans of Starship may know that Starlink enables us to bring you lots of unprecedented views, both from space and here on Earth. In addition to the dozens of cameras on Starship itself, we also have mobile Starlink camera kits deployed in the Indian Ocean, connected to our aerial assets and all around Starbase, which all come together to help tell the incredible story of Starship, both on and off planet. Thanks to Starlink, Starship is capable of streaming more than 120 megabits of real-time, high-definition video and telemetry in every phase of flight, providing invaluable engineering data to help engineers rapidly iterate across all systems. And all of that streaming data will be put to good use with the more than 30 cameras on the vehicle for today's flight test. Starlink is the world's largest satellite constellation, operating in low Earth orbit to deliver high-speed, low-latency broadband internet, providing access to people around the world, many who have never had connectivity before. Starlink now serves more than 119 countries, territories, and other markets. And here at SpaceX, we've been developing Starlink's communication capabilities not just for humans on Earth, but for astronauts in space. Our recent Polaris Dawn mission, we deployed a high-speed internet connection in Dragon for the very first time. Here's a quick look at how that went.
Man,
Starlink is an amazing.
this Elon has, this guy has touched all those companies which are very futuristic and can just be self-sustainable. This model of SpaceX with Starlink and SpaceX is such a sustainable one. You launch your satellites with the rocket itself, and then the satellites will pay for your rocket and even exceed that. Hats off. And then Elon, every company which he has touched is futuristic. Previously, it was PayPal when it was not there, and you know what happened with after that. And now it has SpaceX, Tesla, Starlink, boring company. And now he has joined the government agency. What's that called? Department of Government Efficiency, right? Dodge.
Our families get to show them the perspective that we have of Earth. It was very cool to bring them into the mission that way.
I was able to show my kids and my husband, what it looked like to be floating in space. I got to show them out the window. Well, my husband even exclaimed that at one point we hung up the call and he called back and I answered and he was like, I called space.
Starlink on Dragon is something that we want to include because we have this company within SpaceX that has space-based internet. So what not a better way to test space-based internet in space?
This guy knows what is needed in space actually. Seriously. Networking is the most important thing you need in space. So he's developing his own network infrastructure. What else do you need?
Speeds and lowering latency so that we can connect as many as possible around the world and beyond. Last year, we activated Starlink in 27 new markets and are now covering a global area home to 2.8 billion people, including those who live in some of the most remote places on Earth. To meet the growing global demand for high-speed internet, SpaceX opened a new 700,000 square foot factory in Bastrop, Texas, and introduced Starlink Mini as well as an upgraded version of the Starlink Standard Kit. The SpaceX team also achieved an unprecedented launch cadence, conducting 134 Falcon launches, with 89 dedicated to expanding the Starlink constellation. With each launch, Starlink adds more capacity to the constellation and continues to expand its coverage, connecting even more people in underserved and hardest to reach areas of the globe. Now, while our mission to connect the unconnected is far from complete, you can check out some of the Starlink team's highlights from 2024 and learn more about how our customers are furthering Starlink's impact around the world at starlink.com/stories.
There's this SpaceX and Falcon 9 launching so many rockets, and then there is ISRO.
The Starlink team has provided about 1,350 free kits to fire departments and other disaster response organizations from down in Orange County all the way up to Malibu. That is in addition to applying free Starlink service for thousands of customers impacted by the fires all across the Los Angeles area. And just as critically, since enabling our direct-to-cell satellites with T-Mobile, more than 120,000 text messages have been sent, allowing those in impacted areas to reach loved ones, text 911, or receive emergency alerts.
How can you even
I've never been prouder to be an employee at SpaceX for moments like that where we can help the people and community around us. Make sure to follow @Starlink on X for updates as we continue to work with local response teams, and check out starlink.com/LA wildfires for more information on these efforts.
I hope everyone is doing good in LA. I know what has happened over there, but yeah, I hope everyone is safe at least.
On Flight Test 5. So let's head back to Dan and Kate for a catch primer.
Thanks, Jesse. We are now T-minus 8 minutes and 40 seconds until liftoff. Flight controllers on console there in the building just behind Dan and I. You can actually see the rocket in the distance at the pad 6 miles away. Our excitement is growing. I already am not sure if I'm going to be able to remain coherent after witnessing this, so looking forward to it.
You'll be all right. You'll be all right. Just a quick status check. The ship fully loaded in its main tanks on LOX and fuel. We're going to load the header tanks, and booster is going to be closing out real soon as well. Let's talk about that second catch attempt, though. So we're going to use the tower's 2 gigantic robotic arms, call them the chopsticks, same thing we used to stack Starship onto Super Heavy for all the integration ahead of a flight, and that's what we used to catch by moving stuff like landing legs from the booster to the ground side. It's a lighter booster, means you can carry more into space.
Now, in a nominal operational scenario following liftoff and after the 2 stages separate in flight, Super Heavy will return to the launch site, reignite its engines to slow the vehicle down, and the tower's arms will catch the rocket booster.
And just to get to this point, just like before, thousands of distinct vehicle pad criteria have to be met prior to that return and catch. We need healthy systems on the booster, healthy systems on the tower, and a manual command from our mission flight director for the day. If we don't send that command before the boost back burn ends, or if any of those automated checks kick us out, that's what happened on Flight 6, the Super Heavy booster will divert to an offshore trajectory, and it'll go out and do a landing burn and a soft splashdown in the Gulf of Mexico.
Now, we have said it before, but it remains true today. We accept no compromises when it comes to ensuring the safety of the public and our team, and that return will only take place if the conditions are right.
And one of the unique aspects of Starship flights is the return and the catch of that super heavy booster and the audible sonic boom that it comes with it in the area around the return location. General impact to anyone in the area is just a brief thunder-like noise, but it definitely lets you know it's coming.
Oh, yeah. It's something our neighbors in Cape Canaveral, Florida and Vandenberg, California have become accustomed to over the years, and now we're bringing the boom to Boca. So here's a peek of what to expect.
Bro. They are just exceeding themselves only in terms of quality and content of the stream.
As I mentioned earlier, we have Starship, Raptor, and Starlink employees here fully invested in this flight test. And of course, many other SpaceX employees also here across our site supporting their teams, their teammates. Every flight test has been pretty unique, and we're all very excited for another round of firsts, but I'm pretty sure the crowd is looking forward to potentially watching those chopsticks catch another booster. So let's see how excited they are today. Just under 5 minutes to go. We are all very excited here. We're going to send it back to you at Starbase for the final minutes of the countdown. Kate and Dan.
All right,
Man,
thank you, Jesse.
imagine working at
So
SpaceX.
if you just tuned in under 5 minutes ago, you picked the right time to do it. Just a quick status check. So we're almost fully loaded on the booster. We'll be fully loaded on the ship, fully loaded on the booster coming up soon. Our range team just reported that we're looking go in the range. That's super important.
Great
Our
news.
security guys, Mike, Kyle, Nick, the whole team out there in the elements, making sure everything's clear, doing a fantastic job. And we are coming up on 4 minutes and looking good for launch.
Yeah, certainly exciting. Now, we do have an opportunity to hold at T-minus 40 seconds if necessary. This is a chance for us to perform additional checks if necessary. If we, need to repressurize some tanks, or if there's a wayward vessel in the range last minute, opportunity to clear it out. But everything currently looking good. Now, once we pass T-minus 40 seconds, a number of events will occur in rapid succession. The ground spin and ignition systems come up to flight pressure. The ship will go to internal power. After that, the quick disconnect, or QD, arm lockout is removed in preparation for retraction, which will happen shortly after T0. And yeah, once we pass T-minus 40 seconds, we do have the ability to recycle the count under certain conditions back to that T-minus 40 second mark and hold there to assess what happened and assess opportunity to proceed again to T0.
Yep, we've used that T-minus 40 hold a couple of times. Boat's usually one of the items, but we aren't tracking anything right now that would cause us to hold there. We can hold there for several minutes. Main thing you're watching at is kind of set a clocks, because your temperatures will change and the fuel in the locks, everything pretty quickly. So you've got a couple of minutes that you can hang out and figure things out.
Should have fueled by 2 minutes, 50 seconds or something.
Pass them, we're scrubbed for one of the main ones is that flame deflector at the bottom of the launch mount. Water begins flowing for that at the T-minus 10 second mark. If we scrub at any point after that, we'll be done for the day. And then teams will need to refill the deflector, as well as all of our prop that we use to load on board the vehicle. It's pretty much just under 11 million pounds of prop sitting on that thing right now. And we can actually recycle in about 24 hours now.
Which is incredible given the sheer volume of propellant that is on board the vehicle there on your screen.
My goodness.
All right.
Okay. T
Coming up on
minus
the
2
2-minute
minutes
mark.
from the launch, guys. Everything is looking great. The range, the weather, and the vehicle
New ship, new year.
are
lot of
all
upgrades,
green,
doing a
and
lot of ambitious things in space.
we are tracking no issues right now.
Relighting a Raptor engine.
Yeah.
We're looking good.
So as we mentioned before, we have an opportunity to hold at T minus 40 seconds. Not tracking any issues at the moment that would be necessary right now. So fingers crossed we can pass through that checkpoint without stopping. But the folks on console are continuing to evaluate the launch commit criteria, making sure that the winds are within limits as well as any other
under
weather
2 minutes,
restrictions.
guys.
But man, compared to yesterday,
Give your best wishes right now. This is the right moment. T minus 1 minute 50 seconds remaining. Everything is looking good. Let's hope for the best.
We're doing our final thrust vector control or steering for the engine checkouts. Once we hit the 30-second mark, we'll hear the flight director give.
We are T minus
final
1
go
minute
for
from the launch.
So we're under a minute.
And we are going in.
We're not expecting a hold at T minus 40, but do not be shocked if that happens. It has happened in the past, and we can hang out there for a couple of minutes if we need to.
if memory serves me right,
We hold my breath for 4 seconds.
Pass through prop load gate.
All right, we passed right through that prop load gate.
There
Hot
you
diggity
go,
dog.
guys. T
All right,
minus 30
so
seconds remaining.
We're going to let our flight director, Ty Huntington,
Flight
take it
directors,
away.
go for launch.
And we have go for the launch. T minus 25 remaining. T minus... Oh my god. It's happening. 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10.
T minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Ignition.
have
And there we go, baby. Wow. We have liftoff.
Vehicle's pitching downrange.
Never ever gets old.
Booster chamber pressure is nominal.
Wow. Just look at that, man. Look at
All
that.
right, we're more than 30 seconds into flight. Telemetry showing 33 out of 33 engines as it's pitching downrange.
And those rocket tractors.
Avionics power and telemetry nominal.
Hey, we have a
Hearing good
flyer.
call-outs on the ship and booster avionics. You just heard the
Hey, you
rumble
can
hitting
see
us
that.
about 6 miles away. Watching
There.
Starship arc into just endless blue skies right now.
We got a peeler.
Vehicle supersonic.
Everything is looking good.
More than a minute into flight, the
And look at
vehicle's
that,
supersonic.
man. Wow, that POV is amazing. And then
Max Q.
all it's yes, it's
So we just
achieving max
passed
Q
through
now.
Max Q, that's the greatest stress the vehicle's going to experience on the way uphill. Reminder that all of our teams down here on the ground are now looking at systems on the tower. They just did a manual check through.
Man.
That's going to inform that manual flight director's decision. Next
Look at
moment coming
that.
up, though, is going to be hot staging. Don't take your eyes off it. It's one heck of a light show.
I can't
what a
even.
gorgeous ascent.
6 ship engines getting ready to ignite. That's going to happen while we're still attached.
Okay, next event coming up is the
We can still see the ship's engines
Miko.
from the ground.
and state SEP. Man, look at the quality of the onboard video, man. Seriously.
Got a little under 30 seconds away from that. We are hearing good call-outs on the tower preparedness from the manual
We
checks.
have those
Reminder, though,
shockwaves.
we've still got automated checkouts on the booster and the ship itself.
Vehicle is pitching. You can see the rotation happening,
As
right?
of right now, our manual checks and our manual commanding is looking go for a catch.
Booster engine cut off.
That is incredible news.
Still 3
We just
engines
heard
are
the call out
running.
for booster
All right,
engine
Miko.
cut off.
Engine startup.
Most engines cut off, down to those
Stage
middle
separation.
3.
Boost back burn startup.
Oh, look at that go, man. Seriously. Oh, okay. One engine is not lit up. One engine is there, but it's fine.
All right, hot stage
Raptor, chamber
confirmed.
pressure
We've
is
got a
nominal.
booster hopefully on our its way back to us.
One
And a
engine.
ship
One
now
engine
making its ascent burn into space.
is off.
How's it going in Hawthorne, Jesse?
It's great over here. You can hear the crowd screaming for every milestone. The booster is now
Those
making its way
HD
back
views
down to Earth.
of the rocket.
Looks like we
The
have
first
12
stage you
of
are
those
seeing
13
right now.
engines ignited. We're using the engines that actually gimbal.
We
So
are go for booster return.
an excellent call out there. We are go for booster
Ship
return.
avionics, power and telemetry nominal.
There's a lot of criteria that needed to line up to ensure that we could have a
Boost back
safe
burn shutdown.
booster catch, and it sounds like we got the go for that.
What is this?
And there you can see on your screen, we had we just jettisoned the hot stage.
Yeah, obviously.
And there's a great,
Look at that
excellent
ring.
view there of the hot stage floating away from the super heavy booster.
These views are there to
Now we've
die
shut
for.
down the engines for that boost back burn. That confirms boost back burn is now complete. That was the first of 2 burns required for the vehicle to make its way back down to Earth. And next coming up will be the landing burn. That's going to be 13 of those center engines igniting again. And that will then go down from 13 down to 3 engines just right before we touch down for that booster catch. Now, reminder, our stage 1 objectives are to have a controlled ascent, stage separation, as well as a controlled boost
This
back
is one
burn
of
and
those
hot stage
flap
as well.
views
So
of
we're
the
looking
upper
good for that
stage.
so far. Some great views there.
Upper stage is still accelerating, I'm telling you. It's still going in the job, doing the job. And we are, look at that. The booster is coming in back.
Now, Starship
Everything is looking good. Look out for that booster, guys.
firing its engines right now.
Starship trajectory nominal.
And great call outs. Starship trajectory is nominal. You can follow along the telemetry, the altitude in the bottom left-hand corner for the super heavy booster, as well as the bottom
62
right-hand corner
kilometers.
for the ship. And these views are
3,000.
just amazing.
50 kilometers. This is the first stage.
Again,
Looking
the
up.
booster is currently making its way back to the tower today. So we're looking forward to a booster catch with
So
the
you are looking
chopsticks.
up at the grid fins, now
In the
down.
meantime, you can see those grid fins there, helping to control the vehicle and guide it back to its landing site.
Who is betting it's going
Booster
to be
FPS is
caught?
saved.
I
With that,
am.
we're going to hand it back. How's it going over there, Dan and Kate? How are you doing, Kate? Seeing that in person.
20 kilometers.
You know, Dan had to take that
Oh,
entire
man,
segment because I couldn't talk. That was incredible.
There it is.
We can see the booster coming back in now through the
God.
plume. At least it looks that way to us. It's incredible that it basically returns.
When will
It looks
it-
like a speeding, just like
Ship
this
Raptor chamber pressure is
silver
nominal.
flare
Look at
coming
that
back
engine
to
bay.
the once
Oh
again,
my
we are
God.
standing by for
It's all fighting in there.
attempting to catch the booster at the tower.
Come on, come
This
on,
would be
lit up,
the
lit up.
second
Yes!
tower catch.
Yes!
Booster landing
Landing
burn
burn.
start.
Yes! Come on!
Seeing 13 engines.
You can do it!
Booster now hovering as it aligns with the tower for catch.
Booster coming in. Get
Down
ready
to-
for that boom, Kate.
Down to 3 engines.
Oh my goodness!
Landing burn shutdown.
They
Negative
did
one,
it!
caught the booster.
Breaking again! How can this be even possible?
You heard it here. Mechzilla has caught the booster.
Once again, for the second time, a successful catch by the launch tower. This is the same tower, the launch pad, where that booster took off from just 7.5 minutes ago.
You can see from, like, it is standing on
Great
which,
view
on what?
from
Those
the
fittings.
chopstick arms, looking at those hypersonic grid fins that steer the booster for that precision landing.
It is like a little bit, but
It
I
almost
mean,
looks
you
like it's
can-
flapping its
Yeah,
wings.
you can see just how small that catch fitting is too on something that's just so massive.
That was absolutely insane.
oh my.
Meanwhile,
We're not done, but
We're
wait,
not
there's
done
more.
Why does it feel like I'm watching a movie?
Wow, that is just absolutely stunning.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so in there
And this,
could
of
be an
course,
issue with
a
one of
gorgeous
those. You can
view
see
there from a
the
tower looking down.
engines in the second stage is not burning. Or is it intentional?
Now we're standing by for views from the ship, but who
This,
can take their eyes off
um,
of that incredible sight?
I mean, the speed is not increasing, but the stage. This is should not happen.
It's incredible to see it come back down.
We are not getting the views of the rocket.
In the sky.
And one engine is
and
only
you can still see
running.
the launch plume behind us, and
Let's see.
wow,
Let's
that-
wait. They may have changed the launch profile, but we are
can't
not
speak for
getting
you,
any.
Dan, but, that was very moving for me.
yeah,
This
and right
is-
now you can see some of the telemetry on those ship engines has gone out, and we're waiting for an update on what our ship status is. We were approaching
Exactly.
that ship engine cutoff time, so just waiting to hear. So
Oh,
obviously
man.
we've got booster back, booster on the launch tower in the chopstick arms, but we are waiting to get an update now on the ship. As we were expecting ship engine cutoff about 40 seconds ago. We saw some of those
F's in the chat,
engines start
guys.
to go out prior to that point. And so right now we are just standing by to try and get the latest word
No.
on where we
This
are
is not
with
how it
ship.
works.
So
We know
stick with us
this
for
is
just
gone.
a couple of minutes as we wait to hear some updates.
This is
Now,
gone.
if you just recently joined us, you might want to hit rewind and go back about 9-10 minutes ago to when Starship lifted off
the
from the
hell has
launch
happened?
tower
I
that
have
you
to-
see there.
it says this
We had
engine
a
is still-
gorgeous ascent followed by
Did
a
it
stage
explode?
separation where the ship separated from the super heavy booster. The booster performed a
The biggest
flip
thing is that
maneuver
we are not getting any
and back
Starlink
to
views,
the Gulf Coast
and
here.
the telemetry has stopped.
Obviously, a successful catch back at the launch tower, which is
There
something
could be
that
some
we're all
issue
hoping to
with.
see
Oh
and
yeah,
really
yeah.
for
One thing is there. So in the upper stage, they have you might be saying that how come is this possible? Because it was like
had ignited its engines and
done before also, but this time they had a bigger upper stage, more propellant in it, and they were having some different feed lines to it. So the architecture of the upper stage was different.
For that booster to come back, you can see it there up close on your screen to
So-
the place that it launched from. Once again, there were thousands of catch commit criteria, which is basically just all the things that we have to assess and evaluate and basically make sure that they are make sure that everything is clear and acceptable conditions, both on the vehicle side as well as the tower side, in order to enable that catch. So obviously from the last two flights that we have done, where the flight 6 we attempted but had to divert into the ocean, and then on flight 5 we did have the first ever successful
Okay,
catch
they are
of
repeating
the
the
booster.
script
We used
basically.
the learnings of those two flights to hone in that catch commit criteria, and we saw success today, which
F's in the
is
chat.
pretty
F's in the
awesome.
chat. It's gone.
And just a quick status check. So we currently do not have comms with the ship. So trying to figure out exactly when that happened and exactly what happened. So obviously the flight controllers right now going through their data, looking to make sure it's not anything instrumentation on the ship, but actually try and get us a status. So again, we're gonna
Obviously
we're
it's
gonna keep
gone.
listening in on
It's
this.
gone,
We'll give you
gone.
an
I'm
update
telling you
as soon
it's
as we
gone.
have a little bit more. So for now, stage 1 back in the tower, waiting to find out a little bit more about stage 2.
Stage 2, they had a major overhaul this time. Many upgrades and many things were changed. So since they said they made it bigger, right? The 25% more propellant means they had to change a lot. It's not like you can just increase the size of the propellant tanks and that's it. You have to change the whole architecture. They had to make it a bit more you know, taller. The flaps were moved. They had a different feed line system. What I am suspecting is, since the engines had an issue, there could be like issue with the engines itself, but the engines, I have to see the whole flight, and then only I can comment. But right now, what I can see, as whatever I saw just now, is that since engines are kind of flight worthy because they know how to do that, so I don't think so there is any issue with the engines itself, engine malfunctioning. What I think is, since they upgraded their
So if you are just tuning
feed
in,
lines,
we caught a booster, but we are still waiting to find out a little bit more on the ship. So it had successfully separated. We did that hot staging maneuver. We did see all 6 of ship's engines on the way uphill during its ascent. But as we were getting to the end of that ascent burn, we saw engines dropping out on telemetry, and we have since lost contact with the ship. So again, we're still listening in on the loops, trying to figure out how much we can get right now. But again, stick with us. We'll bring you updates as soon as we hear them. Really exciting. We were able to catch the booster today. Obviously, we want to get the ship all the way over to the Indian Ocean. May not be able to do that at this point, but we'll give you some updates as soon as we hear a little bit more about the ship.
For those that didn't catch earlier, this was a new version of the ship. This was its debut flight. So a lot of learnings here for sure as we continue to tune in and listen in with the teams and try to gather more information to understand where we stand with the ship. But as Dan mentioned before, teams are trying to make sure that it's not an instrumentation error. We want to find out if it's, did we just lose communication, or did something else happen with the ship? So teams are actively working, trying to figure out what we can find out, and we're continuing to listen in and find out more information to share as we can. But as we said before, and you can see it there on your screen,
if you remember,
what a beautiful, beautiful sight.
If you remember, guys, I said we got a peeler, right, during the ascent. And that peeler was, I think, was it on the first stage or second stage? I have to rewind that. Could that be the culprit? We'll have to see.
Yeah, the thunder-like sonic boom was really fun too.
Okay, now they are just stalling and just filling in the fillers.
We are getting a little bit more. So we did lose all communications with the ship. So, I mean, that is essentially telling us that we had an anomaly with that upper stage. So we were just coming up to the end of that ascent burn for the ship when we stopped when we started to lose a couple of the engines. We saw those dropping out, and then we did lose telemetry from the ship. So that means we didn't have contact with it. So at this point, we are assuming that the ship has been lost. So this was a brand new vehicle, essentially. This was kind of an upgrade version. So with that, there's a lot of things you're upgrading, but there's a lot of things you're going to learn as all of those systems are now interacting with each other for the first time. But at this point, we did lose the upper stage of the ship. So again, we're gonna listen in and try and figure out a little bit more about what happened. And obviously, we'll do kind of a full breakdown once we get smarter ourselves in the coming hours and days as well.
For sure. Now, for those that have recently tuned in, we're now a little over T plus 16.5 minutes after liftoff. We do believe that we have lost the ship during its ascent phase. It's successfully separated from the Super Heavy booster, but during that ascent phase, a couple of the engines dropped out, and then shortly thereafter, we lost communication with the vehicle. So we are assuming that we have lost the ship, but we are standing by to confirm that, and once we can, we will. But this was a new version of the ship, of Starship, and it was intentionally designed and flown in order to basically test the envelope, as we have done with every one of these test flights, the keyword there being test, and really trying to understand the boundaries and the maximums for the ability of this vehicle to fly. And
host of the show, I would be like Dan only, totally. I'm not focusing on what I'm doing right now, but what has happened. I'm focused on, I would be focused more on that, exactly my representation.
We can learn more about the status of the ship.
Okay. So, as they said, they might have lost the engines in between. So first of all, let me tell you, like, we'll do the analysis of what has happened. So we'll see that. But what I think as of now, we'll just wait for it a little bit more, and I'll have my educated guesses, because obviously I'm not sitting in the launch control room. I can just see from the video and tell you what all things are there and what could have happened. First of all, look at this. The place at this huge booster is standing on that little clip. This thing, right? This thing. So cool. Two clips are there. Two clips or whatever. Two structures are there. And yes, those grid fins are, of the size of your car. So that is the case. Okay, coming back to it. So first of all, during the flight, we got a peeler. As I said, I told you we got a peeler. The thing is, I have to now rewind the flight. Let's just rewind a bit and see from there only.
As we expand access,
Box load.
Closer look at
Right.
SpaceX. We've been
we'll need to refill
The peeler was
on
where?
the way uphill.
Okay.
right
All
over
right.
here. You can
Sorry. Yeah, the peeler was on the second stage. Is it the culprit? Is it the culprit? Because you never know. I don't know. See, this is not a sticker. I'm telling you that. Okay. This is something else. This is not a sticker. I mean, this is steel only. So if steel is moving like this, obviously this was not supposed to happen, and it happened when. Let's just see that also. See from the starting. Right? Yeah.
The ground spin and ignition before
Happened in the past.
We have liftoff.
Did it happen?
The vehicle's pitching downrange. Booster chamber pressure is nominal.
Okay. Yeah, till now nothing is there. You can see. It's all good. 1 kilometer in the flight.
All right, we're more than 30 seconds into flight.
Still
Telemetry
nothing.
showing 33.
Now something started happening.
Got a 33 engines as it's pitching downrange.
I still don't think this is the issue.
Booster chip.
Still don't think this is the issue, obviously. But this
avionics
is
power
something
limit.
which happened, so we should be talking
You're
about it.
nominal.
Hearing good call outs on the ship and booster avionics. You just heard the rumble hitting us about 6.
This is not a tiles thing. This is this is kind of like, stuff which is covered with steel. This should not have happened, obviously, this thing. But that's how it is. I just want to see now, did it become bad in the flight? Do we have anything in the live section? No.
Of a flight and good for launch. You can actually it around are now looking. Systems actors is becoming a heck of a light show.
we can
Still
checks.
became, when the air was like a bit thin, obviously, then
we just
it
heard
was
the call.
stable. I think I still don't think so that is an issue, but that was something which he observed. Only thing which you can see right now, so during the
For a
Miko,
catch.
Booster engine cut off.
That is incredible.
the Miko happened perfectly fine. Obviously there was no as such issues with there was issue, but it's fine.
We just heard the call out for booster
Alright,
engine
Miko.
cut off.
Engine startup.
Most
You can see the second engine start. So during the hot staging, all the 6 engines started. And don't go with the color of the flame right now. I mean, it's just getting redirected from the those small area and getting hit with the steel particles. So It's fine.
It's cut off down to those
Stage
middle
separation.
three.
See, when the steel got away, it became clear, and you can see the steel itself. The part here is all glowing and stuff. So yeah, and the second stage itself is still having that peel, but no issues there. And here now you can see the first stage itself. There was one engine issue here. You can't see that, right? Wait. Can you see it right now? I hope you can see it. Yeah. So here you can see the one of those engine in the first stage is gone. So, but still, first stage is not an issue. It's gone during this part, but it was fine afterwards when it had to relight again. So till now, this we have to observe now. Just focus on the second stage.
The space.
Crowd screaming for every.
We are not getting any footage from the second stage right now. In the second stage, we did not get that much of footage also this time.
Every milestone. The booster is now making its way back down to Earth. Looks like using the excellent calls here that needed to line up to ensure that we could have a safe booster catch, and it sounds like we got the go for that.
Okay, so you can see the views from the second stage. Still nothing as such. All the engines are working. Nothing as such on the plume itself. And we had the hot stage. Wow, just look at those wiring and everything, right? Removed from the.
And there you can see on your screen, we had the. We just jettisoned the hot stage.
From the first stage. Hot stage from the first stage. Okay. Still, the second stage is working fine. All the engines are lit up.
And there's a great, excellent view there of the hot stage floating away from the super heavy booster. Now we've shut down the engines for that boost back burn. That confirms boost back burn is now complete. That was the first of 2 burns required for the vehicle.
Still nothing on the second stage. Things are looking
to
good.
Make its way back down to Earth. And next coming up will be the landing burn. That's going to be 13 of those center engines igniting again. And that will then go down to, from 13 down to 3 engines just right before we touch down.
Okay, just a footage thing. Nothing
Down for
as
that
of
booster
now.
catch. Now,
All
reminder,
good.
our stage 1 objectives are to have a controlled ascent stage.
One, look at those levels of the fuel right now. Okay, you can't see that. Oh, too. Wait. Me. That. Right now, you just look at the levels of the fuel. Almost the liquid oxygen and the CH4 are at the same level, right? And here you can see for the first stage, the liquid oxygen is almost depleted. The liquid oxygen almost depleted and the CH4 is there. I have to see the equation once. Which one should have, which one should be like more oxygen or CH4? But here, since you can see both of them are almost at the same capacity, I think we are not getting a proper burn here at the engines. It should not be the case. There should be some difference, or maybe just it could be there is a little bit of difference, but let's just see.
As well as a controlled boost back burn and hot stage as well. So we're looking good for that so far. Some great views there from the ship of
Still
Earth.
fine.
That looks incredible.
Yeah, now
Starship's ship is
still looking good.
still firing its engines right now.
Starship trajectory nominal.
And great call outs. Starship trajectory is nominal. You can follow along the telemetry.
And now they said at this point of time, T plus 5 minute 14 seconds, they said Starship trajectory is nominal, which means things were going good till now.
Altitude in the bottom left-hand corner for the Super Heavy booster, as well as the bottom right-hand corner for the ship. And these views are just amazing. Again, the booster.
Still, all the engines are running. The consumption is also good enough.
Currently making its way back to the
Nothing
tower
as such.
today. So we're looking forward to a booster catch with the chopsticks. And in the meantime, pull the vehicle and guide it back to its landing site.
The consumption of fuel is also
With that, we're
fine.
going to hand it back. How's it going over there, Dan and Kate? How are you doing, Kate? Seeing that in person?
You know, Dan had to take that entire segment because I couldn't talk. That was incredible.
There it is.
We can see the booster coming back in now through the plume. At least it looks that way to us. It's incredible that it basically returns. It looks like a speeding, just like this silver flare coming back to the. Once again, we are standing.
I can't take the eyes off this. This is such a big distraction, right? But I'm trying to focus.
For attempting to catch the booster at the tower. This would be the second tower catch.
Booster
Landing burn. Seeing 13 engines.
Booster now hovering as it aligns with the tower for
Still
catch.
all good.
Booster coming in. Get
Down
ready
to
for that boom, Kate.
Down to 3 engines.
Booster landing burn shutdown.
All good. All good.
Megazilla has caught the booster.
Still all good on the second stage.
You heard it here. Megazilla has caught the booster.
And get ready for stuff to happen
Once
now.
again, for the second time, a successful catch by the launch tower. This
All
is the
4
same tower, the
6
launch
engines
pad,
are
where
burning.
that booster
Still.
took off from just 7.5 minutes ago. Great view.
You can see the speed is also like consistently, the rate of increase in the speed is also fine. I mean, till now also it is all good.
From the chopstick arms, looking at those hypersonic grid fins that steer the booster.
And there you go. We have 1 engine gone at this point of time. And it was the Raptor engine. The the obvious atmospheric Raptor engine, not the vacuum one.
For that precision landing. It
And
almost looks like it's flapping its wings.
Yeah, you can see just how small that catch fitting is too on something that's just so massive.
And then we got the images of this thing. This is important to note. We got some Starlink video footage from the second stage, even though one of those engines was gone.
That was absolutely insane.
Meanwhile,
Wait, what was that?
on something that's just so massive.
Here in what?
That
Bro, what happened?
was absolutely
Okay.
insane.
Yeah, the hinges. This is the nothing. We can't see anything from on the plume side from here.
Meanwhile,
We're not done, but
We're
wait,
not
there's
done yet.
more.
And there you go. The second engine gone. Third engine gone.
Wow, that is just absolutely stunning.
And then the speed decreased,
And this,
obviously.
of course, a gorgeous view there from the tower looking.
But you can still see if the telemetry and all is correct. It is still maintaining the orientation of it, which means it did not lose control till now. It is maintaining the the orientation.
Down at the top of the booster.
Wait, and one more engine gone. Let me just see.
At least it looks that way to us. It's incredible that
It was on a tilt, then
second launch pad. Precision.
okay, still
That is just,
maintaining.
this, of course, stunning.
Okay, still
And this, of
maintaining.
course, a gorgeous view there from the tower looking down at the top of the booster.
And another engine goes off. Still maintaining, trying to maintain that orientation, but was unable to.
Tracking.
And then gone.
Now we're standing by for.
Okay. What did they announce?
Going to. Thanks everyone for continuing to stick around as we were checking in on the status of the ship. At this point in time, we can confirm that we did lose the ship. However, Starship, the total vehicle, did have an on-time liftoff at 4:37 p.m. Central Time from the launch pad just behind us at Starbase Texas. Gorgeous ascent and successful stage separation. The booster pushed the ship off, and the ship disconnected during that stage separation. The booster came back for a successful, the second ever booster catch at the launch tower, which was pretty incredible to see.
Yeah, it was great to see the booster come down, but we are
I am
obviously
done.
bummed out about ship. It looked like we lost contact with it a little under 8.5 minutes into flight. That's roughly when you start to get to that main engine cutoff. We obviously need to go through all the data. It's going to take some time. In the next hours, days, we're going to figure out exactly what happened, come back, fly the next one, get even farther. Reminder, it's a test. It's a flight test. It's an experimental vehicle. So we'll figure out what ended our day today and make sure it doesn't end our day tomorrow. So as we do that, we're going to continue to provide you updates on our X account on SpaceX.com. So just continue to tune in there. As we learn what happened, we'll be ready to share it.
Exactly. So for now, we are going to wrap up our webcast. We'd like to thank the folks in the county for supporting the launch, as well as the agencies that enable us to launch, and of course to our viewers for tuning in.
And thank you, Kate, for coming down, doing this with me. It was great to have you here.
I'd do it again in a heartbeat.
All right. Well, that'll do it for us. We'll see you guys at the next Starship flight test.
All right, guys. So, what was it? What do you think it was? What do you think it was? So, we had a very good liftoff. The first stage performed as we expected, and then we had issues with the second stage. So, what I have been seeing is, so one of those engines when it go here. Not here.
Successful catch by the launch tower.
Here at this point of time, everything was working fine. And then you see one of those engines to go off. At this point of time, what might have happened was the engine might have actually gone off. Means the engine might have malfunctioned, which should not be the case. Here you go. Engine might have malfunctioned here. One thing which you need to see at any point of time, till all the engines, till we lost the telemetry, we could see that Starship, if we can trust the orientation of what it says, Starship maintained its orientation, which means it did not lose the control, which means it was not a rapid unscheduled disassembly as such, till the time the last engine or the last this thing was burning. After that, which also says that engines might have not blasted at all, because it was still maintaining its orientation, which means it was not losing its control. Engine could have blasted in one of those cases in which you see like there is a sudden gone. Right now everything is fine. One engine is not working, but then suddenly you see like suddenly you see Okay, why is there a fire here? This is a hinge part. This should not be a fire here. And it is well above the atmosphere also. No. There should not be any fire here. Previously I ignored it, but yes, there should not be any fire here. And then you go see 1 and 2, and then suddenly all those engines goes off. This and this goes off like together. Maybe some blasting of the engine here, but again it still was working the orientation, and then one goes, the other goes, and then a little bit orientation goes haywire, and then finally goes away. So yeah, I don't think so there was any rapid unscheduled disassembly because of the engines. Yes, obviously there was some rapid unscheduled disassembly. Because of that only we lost the telemetry, but it might have not come from the engines itself, because it still had the control, or there was a sudden disassembly from the propellant tanks or something, like in the feed lines or something. What I think is, since they upgraded this model, this Starship was new, and they had this new feed lines, new system of feed lines, as well as those vacuum shielded feed lines, that could have caused the issue. Christina says someone stole the ship, alien stole the ship. You can blame Pi for that. He hated Elon, and he did not want Elon to come here. So obviously you never know. Bruh, look at the time he posted. When all the engines, only one of the engines was running, or actually the telemetry stopped, and then these guys are here. This was the issue. This is not the issue. I'll have to actually see what is this actually. So let me check on, we have a good like footages here, right? The close-up footage here. We see that. What was that actually? Yeah, so where was it again? Oh, high above, right? We are not getting a high above zoom in picture from there. Or is it this one? I think this is the one, right? No. I think this is the one, because this is where that ice is, and it's about here only. So, but what is this that we have to see? Does not look like a major component, looks like a thruster of some sort, but again, not sure. But this is not an issue. I don't think so, but you never know again. And yes, this is the issue. Chip lost in a rud while in the orbit. It was not in the orbit actually. It was still in the, see, that's why this is test flights, and all those checks are in place, if this would have made the orbit like New Glenn did, then and after that, if it would have blasted, that would mean that it would be costing the other satellites which are in the orbit right now. But since it did not reach the orbit, it was always inside the atmospheric you know trajectory. Perigee was down, which means most of the particles, most of the debris will come down and burn up in the atmosphere. But obviously this is an explosion, you just don't know where all those debris will fly over, what all velocity it will achieve. But you can say most of the debris will come. There might be like 2 to 3 debris which can go haywire, and then reach the ISS type of orbit also. You just never know, right? Because explosion can give that much of velocity, uncontrolled explosion. Do we have any? Whoa. Okay. Look at this. Is this the Starship burning up though? As I told, right? We don't have we don't have to worry about the debris as such. You can see it's already coming down. Wow. Look at that. I mean, this is also such a spectacular show, right? Wow. This is so, I mean, I think yes, this is a Starship only. This is such a big debris field, not a smaller one. But look at that. Look at that. Oh my God. Looks so cool. I mean, Starship literally became stars, shooting stars, right? I'll get a copyright strike for sure. But yes, they have not tweeted out anything. What was not supposed to be played? Acha, okay, yes. Yeah, people are now making those videos. This looks so sick, man. Look at that. Oh my God. This is better than Starship, I would say. Yes, it is cooked. Indeed. And then these guys who posted, obviously. So many, you know. Look at these, man. Seriously. Whoa! Bro! Bro! I might get something out of it. That is you know, it's since it was going over those islands and all, people got it. Wow. The guy captured the explosion, man. And still it's very difficult to just to actually see what might have happened here. I have to slow it down a little bit. Quality is not so good. Is it the good flight right now? It's going like in this direction, but if it is going in this direction, it should not give any. Does not make sense. Nah, the ship was on fire already. Yes, those hinge fire is something which you can see, right? Ship is going in this direction, and you can't have a bright spot when the ship is going in this direction because the engines are on the back side, and in space you can't see the plume because the plume was kind of colorless in space. You can in the video we could see. So only way you can see the those bright glows stop when when you are directly looking inside the engines. At that point of time only you can see. But this was glowing here also, which means ship was on fire already. And I think the FTS system kicked in, because this looked like an FTS terminated stuff. See, it's just kept on increasing. Yes, Christina, that's what we are seeing. See, live explosion. Wow, this is gold. Ship was on fire, guys. Ship was on fire. Everything's made to be broken. Kind of appropriate. Bruh. I want to save this video because this is kind of, yes. This tweet has blown up. Man, look at that. So coming, seriously. Meteor shower? Nope, it's not the meteor shower, mate. Two white bursts about 4 seconds apart and it was gone from visual. I do not believe we have... okay. Okay. Top quality workmanship made in USA. America for the win. SpaceX, New Glenn, and Starship. Seriously, of all the three things, we expected Starship to be successful. And well, how the turntables. Just the cover that lets the chopstick arm slide over the ship for catch. Okay. And it's fine. As I told you, right, this is not a concern. Not a concern. Not a concern. I told you already. But this is something which, bright flashes and then gone. Everyone is tagging this guy. This guy is fully famous now. These two guys, basically. Anything else do we have? Visually, the ship 33 was lost. Cool. These guys also track, right? I mean, they don't track the booster, but I mean the upper stage, obviously. Yep. Okay. One ship. Gateway Discord member. Okay. Nice. Oh, okay. Cool. Look at this. So cool, right? Its FTS was activated, huh? Everyone is like, what's that? What's that? Yes, it did. I mean, that's an expected reaction. Rainbow near the vapor cone around. Nope, I did not. See this also here. Huh. Huh. This is not, you can see, I think now we're not sure about what it is. Like, I mean, is it the booster or the Starship one? But we can see here that this is, the flame is not looking good for sure. Look at that, those people, man. Whoa. Why only images? Fell around here. Huh. Great. Wow. Okay, so my final conclusion is that there was fire on the ship, which caused the engines to be shut off because uh, the the engines, as I said in the broadcast, also we could see there was some fire on the flaps, the hinges, and yo, that is true. That is true. What if, only if we had this configuration, today would have been a successful mission, right? Only we had this configuration. It's red. Okay, so specific SpaceX tweeted, huh? Starship experienced a rapid unscheduled disassembly during its ascent burn. Teams will continue to review data from today's flight test to better understand the root cause. With a test like this, success comes from what we learn, and today's flight will help us improve Starship reliability. True. Yes. Bird of the century. Nope. Flappy bird. It's fine. What I think is, okay, that's it then. This is true though. Exactly what I was talking about, you know. Any other news we got? This looks like an explosion. Exactly. Not not this one. Okay, cool. Yeah, so let's go to the broadcast once again. Is it there? Yes, it's there. Tell you what, where was the issue, which I think is the issue. Everything was fine. Okay. All good here. Cannot. See this. See these hinges here. See those hinges. And then the engine got lost. So there was what I think is there was some fire on the Starship itself. We don't know what caused it. We don't know what was the issue, but we can see since the ship itself did not lose its control, everything was working fine. It was not as such a big issue once, but yes, there was fire which we could see in the video also when this the explosion happened. We could see that was not the engine part, but we could still see the trail of it, and then finally the explosion happened. So that means there was a fire on the Starship, and then which caused the rapid unscheduled disassembly. Now what caused that fire, what was the issue, we can't say anything as of now. We have to wait for the SpaceX to tweet about it, or our rocket scientist, internet rocket scientist, if he has managed to see something. Exactly. This is what I was also worried about. Now, since this it failed, which means the Starship is grounded, there will be whole lot of stuff, FAA guidelines and all those things will come into picture, and because of that, you will see that we'll have a lot of things to worry about. We'll not get another Starship flight anytime soon. Nothing. See, see. I told you, 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 and internet rocket scientist confirmed my assumption also. Raptor has spent many an afternoon on Boca Chica Beach. They don't allow you down there on launch day, but a nice thought. You can, I think there are the launch view gallery or something, right? So uh, I think that should be it. That should confirm my theory, because our all hail to Mr. Scott Manley. All glory to Mr. Scott Manley. He's our internet rocket scientist. He has confirmed my assumption. This is a fire where it should not be, and you can see at this point of time the engines are gone, and here the fire at this, fire still can be expected on this part, okay, this here part or something, because it's near the engine, but up here no. And more, and what, near these hinges only the fuel lines are there, which takes the fuel from the above, from the tanks to this thing, the engines. We don't know what has happened. Also, I have to see the consumption of LOX and CH4. Let me see the CH4 plus LOX reaction. So it gives no balance equation. Yes. 2 oxygen. Yes. So we need if we need 1 liter of methane, we need 2 liters of oxygen, which is good. Oxygen was still like fine. But you know what? These two both, I mean, this is just the tank capacity. This is like the percentage of it's not like, if this is X, then it will be 2X. It is 2X, but it's not demonstrating here. It's just demonstrating the percentage of the tank filled. And it's kind of almost similar So yeah, that was also not an issue. But this fire is obviously an issue, which should not be here. Cool then. I think that should be it. We got a good, beautiful RUD videos, beautiful things. Flappy bit hanging there looks like it survived Max Q. Exactly, it did. What people are saying though. Good eye, good eye. What about my eye? I've been like awake. It's 5 a.m. here and I am unable to sleep because I want to know what has happened. And I caught that first. Caught that first, you know. And what people are saying over here, I want to see that. And nope. What is triangular came off? What? Nah, this is just the. Did it come off? I don't know. That everyone is just looking into that flappy thing. It's fine. Nothing has happened. Static discharge. Nah, no, no, no. Don't tell me that. Nothing. No, everyone is just guessing over here. So does not make sense to guess more, because this is my final assumption that fire was not supposed to happen and it happened. So there you go. We did not see the launch. Hey Mark, how are you? Mario, sorry. Hey Mario and Robster, how are you? Welcome to the stream. So we are just analyzing of the stream of what might have happened, and as far as we have seen right now, we could see that there was some issue with the Starship upper stage. There's some fire and which caused it to go away. Cool. I think that should be it. Can we end it over here, this video? If you have anything, you can ask me. But I think that should be it. That should be it, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Unfortunately, this was not a expected flight. Audio went out, huh? You can't see. Since how long it was out? I think okay. So what I was saying was ki everything was fine, but if you remember correctly, what I think was since the Starship was maintaining its orientation, which means it was going fine, right? But there could be an issue with the those engines itself. If you remember correctly, there was one flight in which this was the same case happened. You know, the engine was eating itself. Green flame happened, and after that, what happened? We know there was a blast, right? It was it SN6, SN7. What was it? SN Starship. What was that launch? Let me pull it up. Yeah, SN10. SN10. It was an SN10. SN10. See this. This was SN10, right? What happened with it?
Either space debris or
all the engines we light.
Actually,
one of the engines was only working, and then boom. See, boom. Was nice, right? Was nice, right? Yeah. So there could be something similar here also, since it was maintaining its orientation, and that's what I am saying. It did not lose any control as such, but something might be eating it up, and because of that only, afterwards it exploded. There was a big explosion. Okay.
Either space debris or meteors. I don't know.
Cool. So. Okay, so I think this though might have happened because of some because it did not land properly, but again there could be issues in. I am telling you, since it did not lose the orientation, there was some fire. That means the engine was working correctly. There was no as such fire, thing with the rocket itself which exploded on the, like, let's say tank exploded or something. Because it would have lost the orientation, and there was no as such explosion, or I think there was no as such explosion of the engine also, because if engine would have exploded, that means other engines would have been in issue, and because of that there would not have been any correction of the altitude, the orientation, and it would not have maintained the orientation. So there was something which was internal, some pressure bottle. If you remember, these things kind of happened with the Falcon 9, one of those helium bottles, it came in contact with the liquid oxygen or something, and it exploded, and because of that the whole rocket exploded. Something similar might have happened here. We were getting the engine shut down and all those things, so something in the feed lines, I think, because they actually upgraded the feed lines and all in this mission. I think that should be it. Thank you so much for tuning in. But yes, Raptor, that was a bummer, bit of a bummer, but that's how it is. That's how spaceflight works. SpaceX mission was successful. New Glenn mission was successful, kind of, because the landing did not happen. And the Starship, the landing happened. It was an Uno reverse. The landing happened, but the actual mission did not happen, right? So yeah, so now the thing is, the Starship is grounded, guys. Starship is grounded. They'll have to do whole analysis over it. We won't be seeing any launches of Starship within months to come. That should be the case. And on the contrary, since New Glenn also will be grounded, because there's the booster, I mean the second stage did perform as expected, but the first stage did not perform, so there will be some concerns on how the, where it actually, we did not get any information on where it actually landed or crashed, the nuclear booster. So we need to see whether it was off by certain meters or something, or certain miles, because there is a certain danger area in which you have to be. If it is out of it, then FAA will kill you. So that is the case. So we'll have to wait and see how the things will work out in the coming days. Good starting of the day, bad ending of the day for space fans. That's how it should conclude it, right? So thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you liked it. It's 5:30 a.m. over here. I pull out and all night, and tomorrow I have to go to work. So if you did like this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already, and consider becoming a member. That's how this channel keeps on working, keeps on fueling, because of the members. So shout out to all the members, and I will come up with the next launch. Let me check the next launch also, which is going to be I think I might come up with directly with all the Starlink launches are there, so not covering all those things, but I might come out with directly with GSLV Mark II on January 27th, which is a good thing to have. GSLV Mark II, all hail Queen, right? Do a weekly live, definitely just off the hip pace with, and of course as always, thanks for. Yeah, I was thinking about doing that, the weekly live kind of thing, in which like I come up on Sunday or something and do all those stuff. Let me plan out all the stuff, how I'm going to pull it out. There are so many things I can do on those weekly lives, like I can call in people, do a podcast or something, and discuss on what all things have happened in the past week and stuff. So yeah, I could do that, because otherwise if I would rely on just the launches, the YouTube algorithm is gonna kill me, which is already it is killing me, because there are certain launches which I don't cover. There are certain launches which gets missed because it clashes with my work timings, and then which the launches which does not, then the duration increases. So weekly live is one thing which is kind of makes it fulfilling, so that at least once a week a video is put up, and YouTube does good things on the algorithm side. So yeah, I'm planning to do that. I'm just seeing how I'm going to pull that off. So yeah, thank you so much for it. Since now, that would be interesting, to be honest, since now you know what, it would be interesting to see what happens with the FAA in a few days, because since now by 20th Jan, I think Trump is getting sworn, and once he gets sworn, obviously Department of Government Efficiency will be in place, and if that is in place, that means Elon has kind of hand or watch on all the departments that is happening, and if FAA does some weird stuff which he has complained about in the previous days also, then he has the power kind of to not, I don't think so he has the power to do something. He's kind of suggestion committee, part of a suggestion committee. Like if something is bad is happening, he can go and suggest to higher authority or something that this can be proved like this, and accordingly things can happen. But yeah, it will be interesting to see how Elon deals with FAA now, if FAA does something. So yeah, cool. Thank you so much for tuning in. Until then, this is Priyanshu Roila. You just saw Rocket Gyan. Stay safe, stay healthy, and